Nashorn, initially known as Hornisse, was a German tank destroyer of World War II. It was developed as an interim solution in 1942 by equipping a light turretless chassis with the Pak-43 heavy anti-tank gun. Though only lightly armored and displaying a high profile, it could frontally penetrate any Allied tank at long range, and its relatively low cost and superior mobility to heavier vehicles ensured it remained in production until the war's end. Development. After the first German experiences with the newer Soviet tanks like the T-34 or the Kliment Voroshilov tank during Operation Barbarossa, the need for a Panzerjäger capable of destroying these more heavily armored tanks became clear. In February 1942, the Alkit Arms firm of Berlin designed a tank destroyer using the recently developed Geschützwagen 3 IV, which, as its name indicated, used components of both the Panzer III and Panzer IV tank. The 8 cm Panzerjägerkanone 43/1L71, a long-barreled anti-tank gun more known as the main armament of the Tiger II, was mounted on the rear of the chassis, complete with its gun shield, and an open-topped superstructure was built up around the gun to give the crew some protection. The gun had the same traverse and elevation as if it had been on its carriage, 15 degrees to either side and between -5 degrees to +15 degrees elevation. To accommodate the long and heavy gun, the hull had to be lengthened and the engine moved from the rear to the center of the chassis. The amount of armor provided for the crew compartment was limited. The shielding provided was adequate to protect the crew from blast and small arms, but not armor-piercing rounds. Thus, like the Marder series weapons, the vehicle was not intended to engage in tank fights, but to provide mobility to an excellent anti-tank gun. This model was presented for approval to Adolf Hitler in October 1942 and entered production in early 1943. It had numerous official designations, such as 8 cm Pak-43 auf Fahrgestell-Panzerkampfwagen 3 IV or 8 cm Pak-43 auf Geschützwagen 3 IV, though it was also known as the Panzerjäger Hornisse. During the first half of 1943, a new model of the Hornisse was introduced into production. This model altered the driver's front armor plate, along with other minor differences. This model and its predecessor, the few early production vehicles, were almost indistinguishable. It was renamed Nashorn by Hitler in 1944. Total production of the Nashorn amounted to some 494 vehicles, most of which were built in 1943. In January 1944, Hitler favored production of a newer tank destroyer, the Jagdpanzer IV, which had a much lower silhouette, thicker frontal armor, and an effective though less powerful 7.5 cm gun. Though still primarily an ambush weapon, this vehicle was better built for armored engagements. Production of the Nashorn continued into 1945, though at a slow pace. There are 2 Nashorns on display in military museums, at the United States Army Ordnance Museum and at the Kubinka Tank Museum. Combat service. The Hornisse Nashorn was issued to the heavy anti-tank battalions, with which 6 would eventually be equipped: Schwerpanzerjäger Abteilung 560, 655, 525, 93, 519 and 88. Each battalion was equipped with 45 Nashorns. Nashorn's gun was a variant of Pak-43, one of the most effective anti-tank guns deployed during the war and closely related to guns used later for the Ferdinand, Elefant, Tiger II, and Jagdpanzer. Its tungsten carbide cord round PZGR 40/43 was capable of penetrating 190 mm meters of rolled steel armor at a 30 degrees angle of impact at a distance of 1,000 meters. The gun's performance enabled Nashorn to penetrate the front plating of any Allied armored vehicle and to engage enemy units while staying out of range themselves. The Hornisse Nashorn made its debut during the Battle of Kursk, where it performed well. The ability to engage the enemy at long distances negated the disadvantages of light armor and a high profile and revealed the weapon was suited to the open, flat landscape of much of Russia. Armor Technical data. Manufacturer Deutsche Eisenwerke AG in Teplitz-Schonau. Crew 4 or 5. Combat weight 24 metric tons. Dimensions: length 8.44 meters, length 6.20 meters, width 2.95 meters, 3.176 meters with Ostkarten tracks, height 2.65 meters, ground clearance 0.4 meters. Road speed 42 kilometers per hour. Road range 235 kilometers. Tracks 61 400ths 120 kilograms. Type single pin. Width 400 millimeters. Ground contact length 3.80 meters. Shoes. Track ground pressure 0.85 kilograms per square centimeter. Suspension leaf spring. Shock absorbers. No. Vertical obstacle 0.6 meters. Trench 2.3 meters. Fording 0.8 meters. Engine Maybach HL 120 TRM USF. A Type V1260 DAG. Horsepower 300 PS at 3000 revolutions per minute. Displacement 11,867 L. Compression ratio. Fuel. Gasoline fuel consumption 2 L per kilometer. Fuel capacity 470 L. Transmission ZFSS G77 Affen type. Synchromesh manual. Gears 6/1. Steering Daimler-Benz Wilson. Clutch brake. Clutch Fichtel and amp. Saxler 120 HDA dry triple disc. Armament main gun. Type anti-tank gun. Caliber 88 mm. Barrel length 71 calibers. Breech semi-automatic horizontal sliding block. Traverse manual ±15 degrees. Elevation manual +20 - 5 degrees. Rounds carried 17.92 times 57 mm MG34 or MG42 machine gun carried inside the vehicle. APPR 600 rounds. Primary gun sight SFLZ f1A magnification 5 times field of view 8 degrees. Indirect fire sight Ausschilfsrichtmittel 38 magnification 3 times field of view 10 degrees. Radio Fugas PR